What's going on? Welcome back. Ryan here. In this video, we are talking about the Series 65. Now, again, this is another securities license exam that is administered by FINRA. And the reason why I am talking about the Series 65 is because in the world of funds, of hedge funds, different types of funds, the three main securities licenses that I think are the most important are the Series 7, the Series 65, and the Series 3. And the reason why they're important is because of what they allow you to do, the type of structures that open up to you. And typically, when people look to start funds, right, there's all these different types of funds: private equity, venture capital, debt, merging and acquisitions, right? Again, when we looked at the Barclay Hedge Awards, right, we saw all of the different types of CTAs. Again, we saw the different hedge funds and all of their different different categories, the way they're broken down. And it's important to understand the different licenses and the different processes that allow you to do certain things, right? And this is where it gets kind of complicated, because people use the word hedge fund for more than one thing. It's kind of convoluted and ambiguous, I guess you could say. And that's the reason why I'm emphasizing this, is to educate you so that you as a trader and an investor are confident and you know all of the different things that you can do. So the Series 65 is the Uniform Investment Advisor Law Exam. And it's important to understand that this Series 65 is what you're going to need if you wanted to have something like an RIA, right? Like a registered investment advisor, where you're then able to charge a management fee. So understand that the different licenses allow you to do different things, and there are things that you're going to have to register with the SEC, right? There are exemptions. There's all of these specific ways that you're able to offer investments to clients, and there are ways to do that where you're charging management fees versus just a performance fee. And real quick, I have my little paint here, and I just kind of want to show this to you real quick. So typically when we think about starting funds, remember, we have venture capital, we have private equity, right? We have debt, we have merging and acquisition, we have hedge funds, right? And the whole point of this is, as an investor, as a trader, you could have your method, your idea, and your strategy, right? It could be in the venture capital, it could be in private equity, debt, merging and acquisitions, hedge funds, right? Real estate funds, right? And it's important to understand the differences of how these work, the corporate structures, and then the licenses that you need to go with these. So the typical way that you're going to see people break this down, and it's very important to understand this, is when we look at this classic general partner, and then we have limited partners, okay? So this is the classic structure of a hedge fund that any of these could use, right, where you have your general partner and then you have your limited partners, right, that come to invest in your fund, right? And it's important to understand the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you don't have any licenses, right, let's just say that you are Joe Trader, and Joe Trader, you have a great strategy, you're winning, and now you want to scale your strategy. Well, you're going to need to create some type of corporate structure, and then you're going to need to register with this SEC. And this is very important, right? That registering of the SEC, where you're going to be offering an investment to people, and it may or may not be exempt, right? You may be only offering to qualified investors, qualified eligible participants, right? There's all these different levels of the way the SEC defines people who invest in these structures. And it's important to understand not only the corporate structure of how this stuff works, but then the licenses that go around that allow you to do certain things. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the Series 65 allows you to charge a management fee. So again, back to the example, Joe Trader doesn't have any licenses. He wants to start his hedge fund. He has his general partnership. Then he has his limited partnerships, right? And it's important to understand that there are all these other things that he's going to need, right? He's going to need custodians, right? Custodians of the money. He needs like probably a prime broker. There's all of these different things that go in to making this happen. And one of the most important things to realize is if he doesn't have any licenses, he's not going to be able to charge a management fee. He's only going to be able to charge a performance fee, a waterfall structure, right? And he's going to then have to have somebody who's operating as that RIA that is then giving this general partner the right advice, because this person needs to be licensed to actually do these things. And this is where people get so confused, because until you really deep dive into the licenses, into the corporate structures, into how all these things are set up and what you can do and can't do with certain investments, it becomes very confusing unless you have somebody helping you who really knows what they're talking about, who then can really guide you to making the best decision, right? Because remember, not all the licenses or the fund structures are going to be applicable to every scenario. And in the next video, when we talk about the Series 3, I'm going to again show another example of this. But just remember, it is very important on your journey as a trader and investor, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing venture capital, private equity, debt, merging and acquisition, hedge fund, real estate, commodity trading advisor, commodity pool operator, some of these things. It's very important to understand what you can and can't do, the way that you need to create these things to then be able to actually raise money and scale your strategy, right? So again, in this example, we're also going to need an LPA, right? A limited partner agreement, and PPM, which is a private placement memorandum. Now, when we look at these things, right, usually we're working with very qualified, very smart securities lawyers when we're going into this process. And I highly suggest that you go out, you learn as much as you can, again, about the SEC, right? Learn about general partnerships, learn about limited partnerships, learn about LPAs, PPMs, look at the different fund structures, understand what RIAs are, right? Registered Investment Advisors, which is what the Series 65 allows you to do, right? So the Series 65 would allow you to actually have an RIA where you could charge a management fee. So really important to, again, look this stuff up, educate yourself. I even recommend, spending a couple $100 and sit down with an experienced securities lawyer and have some questions already pre-lined out, right? Because lawyers would love to, some of these lawyers, they would love to take your money and kind of string you along. And again, there are other lawyers out there and people who are who can help you and give you insight. And the whole reason why I'm talking to you about this, why I'm exposing you to this, is because I know as a trader, as an investor, at some point in your career, no matter how successful you are or where you go, that understanding this information is going to be very, very valuable. Okay, so in the next video, we are going to continue this discussion about licenses, and we're going to get into my favorite license and what I'm pursuing, which is the Series 3. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I would love to answer all of your questions the best of my ability, and please let me know what you think. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I will see you in the next video.